This is a video about the ingredients I use to put together the solution used for collodion chloride prints. The first of four solutions is the collodion. The collodion that's used for this is a pop collodion. It's not the same collodion as what you would use for tintype. It's 5%. I believe the tintype collodion is 4%. So the collodion gets mixed in with some alcohol. This recipe is 250 milliliters of collodion and 85 of alcohol. So that would go into the large beaker you see on the lab mixer. The second part of it is the strontium chloride solution, which is a combination of strontium chloride, a gram, 4 milliliters of glycerin, 4 of alcohol, and 5 of distilled water. So you measure that out into a small beaker and then pour that into the collodion and alcohol mix on the lab mixer. These measurements are pretty small, so what I find useful is to use, especially for the glycerin, since it sticks to the inside of beakers, these small syringes, very accurate measurement of 4 milliliters. Alcohol, not a problem using a beaker, a measure like that. So the third solution is the citric acid and alcohol. It's 1.8 grams of citric acid, 2 milliliters of alcohol is what it calls for. I've never been able to get 2 milliliters of water of alcohol to dissolve, so I usually use around 6. Silver nitrate, the last part of this. At this point, it should be done under safe light conditions, and I put it in. It has to be incorporated slowly. I use another syringe to slowly squirt the silver nitrate on the lab mixer into the beaker. The solution that I use is 6 grams of silver nitrate, 7 of distilled water, and 20 milliliters of alcohol. When it's finished and mixed up, I put it into this brown bottle, and I keep it in the refrigerator. Supposedly it lasts a long time. I'm not really quite sure how long it lasts. So the paper I use, and the way I prep the paper up, is this Adox burrito paper that I use. It's kind of a thin paper. I think once this runs out, I'm going to try something a little heavier, but it works fine. So the way you prep the paper is to fold up the edges on all 4 sides, like I'm doing here. This one's already been folded up, so I'm just showing how it's done. So once you get all 4 edges turned up, the corners get pinched like so, because one of the corners is going to be more or less or is going to be a pour-off corner, like you would have a pour-off corner for a tintype. What I use is a very heavy piece of mat board or mounting board, and I've seen people use glass, but this works fine. So the collodion gets poured on the Collodion chloride solution just like you would pour on collodion for a tintype. Into the center, moving around to all four corners, and then pour it off back into the bottle. I pull it off because it's only held down by a small piece of tape that you can see there on the corner. And it drips in to the bottle. Hang it up, about 15 minutes later, it's dry and ready to use. Doesn't take long. The paper itself, after it's been coated, I'm not really sure on the length of time that it lasts, but I've had some for a couple of weeks, so that's fine. The edges, of course, need to be trimmed off. I use this this long scissor, which works fine before it goes into the plate holder, which here I'm showing with a already done Aristotype Collodion Chloride, same thing. The negative I'm using, still in its plastic wrapper, which I would take off, is a digital negative. So it goes in, flip it over, and then expose it to either sunlight if you're doing that, or in the shade, or if you have a UV box, you could put it in there. With a UV box, you get to figure out exactly how much time it should go in, but it's all done by inspection. This is an example of how shiny it is, the surface. This some Aristotype of chickens. And then that's pretty much it.